Hey there, YouTube. Welcome to the next episode of Jay's Beer Reviews. So I told you in the last episode, I'm doing this time Sierra Nevada's Kellerweiss. So this is a beer I've had before, and it's funny. I remember when they started making this beer. It actually replaced Sierra Nevada's American Wheat. The first time I tried Sierra Nevada's American Wheat was after Kellerweiss had come out. So it had already been replaced. I found it on a shelf somewhere. Maybe it was a little old or something. Tried Sierra Nevada's American Wheat, and I thought it was phenomenal. It was like the best beer I've ever had. And to this date, I'd say it's one of the best wheat beers. So I was really salty when this Kellerweiss came out. I'm like, oh my God, we don't need another German wheat beer or anything floating around. I mean, you can go get Hacker Shore or Weihenstephan or whatever. So actually, I tried this one, and I thought it was really good. So the fact that Kellerweiss took over for just their American Wheat, it's okay. They're both actually phenomenal beers. So that's why I'm really excited to try this one with you guys today. So Sierra Nevada's Kellerweiss is a German wheat beer. They say that it's a Bavarian style wheat. So if I go to the BJCP style guidelines, I see that German wheat beer is category 10, and the first one there is just their Weiss beer. So it says here, it is a pale, refreshing German wheat beer with high carbonation, dry finish, a fluffy mouthfeel, and a distinctive banana and clove yeast character. And now really, that's the one thing that makes German wheats different than any other kind of wheat beer, is that banana and clove character. That's how they do. It's what they do. They do it, and it's what they do. Moderate to strong phenols in the aroma. So in the aroma, you're gonna get some clove. You might get some fruity esters like banana. It should be balanced though. The best examples are going to be balanced. Light to moderate wheat aroma, which can be perceived as bready or grainy. It may be present, but other malt characters should not be present. So you shouldn't be getting any kind of roast malt. You shouldn't be getting any kind of caramel malt or anything like that. So it should be very pale to gold. Not going much beyond that. There is some yeast that's left in the bottle. That's why with some of the German beers, they say you pour it out and then you put it down on the table and you roll it around like this, because you got the yeast in the bottom of the bottle and it helps kind of break it up a little bit and get it ready, and you take that last pour and you pour it in your glass. So it makes the beer nice and cloudy. If you ever go anywhere and get a Weiss beer, it's going to be super cloudy like that. So it said it should be very thick, should be moussey, long-lasting white head is characteristic, because the high protein count that's in wheat is what really does that. Wheat is high in protein, and for it to be a wheat beer, for it to be a German wheat beer, it has to have at least 50% wheat. That's by German law. I didn't make that up. They made laws on how to make beer in Germany, because they're serious about the beer, man. So anyways, it should be hazy. It should be hazy is what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. For flavor, it should have kind of banana clove thing going on. They say the clove is a phenol and the banana is an ester, whatever that means. Hopefully it means something to you. So maybe a light vanilla could be in there. A light kind of bubblegum character they talk about. And then here's one thing that they say is very interesting in the style guidelines. One thing they say is very interesting is that it could be sweet, but not actually sweet. They say it should be sweet as a product of low hopping, not as a product of overly sweetness. So they call it a perception of sweetness, which is more due to absence of hop bitterness than of actual residual sweetness. So like it also says here, a sweet or a heavy finish would just impair drinkability. So the German wheat beer is all about just drinkability. It's lower in alcohol. It's not the lightest in alcohol you can get, but it's pretty low. So the Kellerweiss here ranks in at 4.8. That you don't need to know that right now. You need to know that because I'm gonna read the label and I'm gonna tell you all about it. It's like a cloudy, kind of pillowy beer with a dry finish. So you're supposed to be able to drink a lot of it. Really, the yeast that's in suspension and the protein from the wheat does give it a kind of richness of character. But it should never be overly anything. It should be a very, very easy drinking beer. And here's one thing that the BJCP does add in. They say that these beers do not age well. So you should never age these. I don't know why you would age this. I don't know anyone who would ever age this. But you should not. And the BJCP says you should not. So please do not. So something important to note is that, like I said, it's all about drinkability. So in the style guidelines, they rate from an alcohol of 4.3 to 5.6. It is a lighter in alcohol beer. You're supposed to be able to drink a bunch of these. It's kind of like these session IPAs. The reason it's called a session IPA is because you could drink a bunch of it in one session. You can sit down and drink a whole bunch. You're not gonna get drunk. You're not gonna get loaded. You're gonna be able to function. So that's really what the point of these beers are. It's kind of the same thing for Germany. So again, it should be just Pilsner malt and wheat malt. Just regular base malt, what you would have in every beer, and then at least half is going to be wheat. Some styles you can go up to 70, and even like for a barley wine, it's all barley. A wheat wine, you could have 100% wheat wine, but that's not what this is at all. Okay. Okay, and then the last thing here is the commercial examples. Beers that they say are the best example of the style. So number 1 will be Einger's Brauweiss. That's a good beer. That's a good one. Number 2, Hackershore Weiss. Pauliner's Hefeweissen Naturtrub. Number 4, Schneider Weiss Unser Original. Number 5, Weinstefeiner Hefeweiss beer. So those are the best examples of German wheat beers. And now, as always, moving on, I'm going to take a look at the bottle because I always do that every single time. Sierra Nevada here, they have a couple of different labels on it. They got the one on the neck, they have the one on the front, and then they got the one on the back here. So the neck here says, Kellerweiss, our Bavarian-style wheat beer is complex with flavors reminiscent of banana bread and spicy clove. This hazy golden beer glows with suspended yeast, creating a velvety texture and a refreshing finish. Of course, their main label, the one that they always have here, I mean, as always, it shows just the what I assume are the Sierra Nevada mountains. It's got the name, got their name, purest ingredients, finest quality. I really do trust Sierra Nevada as a brand. I know recently they've been doing things that are kind of like, more special. They've been pairing with like some Belgian breweries or some German breweries, some other stuff like that. But their lineup of American beers are phenomenal. But the thing that's interesting about all of Sierra Nevada's like regular lineup is that they're all awesomely done to style. Like Sierra Nevada Pale Ale is the original Pale Ale. Sierra Nevada Porter is the original American Porter. Their stout, American stout. And like I said, with the wheat that I liked so much, their American wheat, it was exactly to style. Sierra Nevada is like the exemplar for American beer. Which is why I like them so much. It's when people come into my store, I don't necessarily recommend to them to try Sierra Nevada. If you really want to get a taste of what American beer should be like, I feel like Sierra Nevada is the one that does it the best. There are other beers that are better, but Sierra Nevada, I think, is just restrained, well done, American classic flavors. Back to the bottle. Of course, I got the name on here, Bavarian style wheat, and on the back, Sierra Nevada, you guys did this right. You did this right, okay? Maybe I'll read it. So it says here on the back, Kellerweiss is one of the few wheat beers made using the traditional Bavarian method of open fermentation, which allows the ingredients to shine and creates vast depth and character in this hazy golden beer. To serve, pour 2/3 into a glass, swirl the bottle, and add the rest. So just like with a lot of the German beers, I remember when I was young, there was the commercial for whatever German beer, where the guy's got it on the table and he's doing this with it, and he's trying to get all the yeast off the bottom of the bottle, basically. It's telling you to do the same thing. Going back to what they say here, open fermentation. These guys are taking their beer and they're doing it traditionally. They have these big vats, and they're letting the beer ferment in these big vats. You go to your local brewer and you see the way that they make beer, most likely they have these conical fermenters that go all the way up to the ceiling, and there's giant steel vats. That's fine. It's the way that everyone does it, really. Traditionally, these German wheat beers were made using these open vats that would be, no seal on top, no nothing. It's just the beer fermenting inside of it, open to the air. My last thing to note, Sierra Nevada, you guys did this right. I make a statement every time I review a beer. I talk about the bottling date or the drink by date or whatever date they have on it. You gotta have some kind of date on it. So these guys, not only is their package date right here at the very top, it's on the label, it says 12/13/16. So honestly, it's about 3 months old. So not only is the date stamped onto the label, but if I go up here to the neck of the glass, it also has 12/13/16. So the date is on the bottle twice. Thank you, Sierra Nevada. You're the best. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed a little bit of information about German wheat beers as a style. I hope you enjoyed my notes on the awesome bottle that is Sierra Nevada's Kellerweiss. So please join me for part 2, where I actually open up the beer and I give you guys my tasty notes on it. Thanks for joining. If you enjoyed it, do please go down and hit the like button. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. You'll see all my new episodes as they come out, and I would really appreciate it. Leave some comments. No one's leaving comments really. I got one so far. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Leave a comment if you want. Leave one if you want. I would appreciate it. All right, guys. I'll see you next time in part 2 of Sierra Nevada's Kellerweiss.